Anyway, yes, it's that time again. Video time once again. So anyway, I was watching a Logic Rolls the Dice video, and it did mention me a few times. And in an okay manner, mostly. And lots to it's an hour-long video, but it's there's lots in there to grab onto in terms of this whole idea of what is it that we're doing when we're alive. This how to optimize your life, and whether the optimization is basically to see that it's on fire and to enjoy the forest fire, right? I mean, you can have a reaction to a forest fire, and your reaction can be, wow, look at those pretty colors, man. Ooh, you can toast marshmallows and all that kind of crap. And, as long as you're just resigned to it existing, like this is inevitable, and oh yeah, it's going to kill all these creatures, and all the people have to run out of their houses screaming and all this shit. Well, it's just inevitable. Let's just enjoy the splendor. You can kind of do that with anything, right? Train wrecks, really, spectacular, crash, fire, sparks. You could talk about the physics and what all, when those two bodies rub against each other, there's friction, and that creates an electromagnetic flux, and the electrons fly through you could do all that. Or you could say, gee, let's do something so train wrecks don't happen. So it's sort of this argument about, what's our reaction? We say, I didn't start the fire, so to speak. And, what do we do about the fact that the world's on fire, kind of thing. And if you don't think the world's on fire, if you don't, if you're not even willing to concede that there's this real horrible aspect to life in that, yeah, I have my vision, and I have my hearing, and my parts all work, and I don't have ALS, and I don't have, I can go down the list. I'm not my dead sister with cancer. And so yeah, you can just pretend that all that other horror shit didn't really happen. That there aren't people in mental institutions, there aren't people homeless, there aren't people drug addicted, there aren't people, And then, like I said, even if you even start to even think about what's happening in the animal kingdom to the other sensate mammals. I mean, if you have the understanding that the only difference between you and them is mathematics, it's a ludicrous difference. I just went to school and stuff. That's the difference. I could go to school in the sense that my brain was capable of learning a language, and that opened all these doors of knowledge for me that don't get opened for these other mammals. But otherwise, they're doing just what I would do, which is panic, be terrified, run. And what do? They run into a car. Every day, ground up. You want to just pretend that grinding is, oh look, it's pretty colors. Blood goes blub 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 out of the top of the grinder. Little blood spurts. Blub 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 blub. You can sit there and say, well, oh look, there's nothing else to do. Nothing we can do about it as we're cranking the handle. Nothing we can do about it as we're cranking the handle. And you can just say, well, you might as well just enjoy it because there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, it's that kind of a conversation. And I guess part of it has to do too that there's a certain personality types are just going to find it easier to, if somebody said, well look, you could almost, see, I mean, I can't argue like something like vegetarianism, right? I wasn't a happy transitioner. I mean, I was a meat eater. I was raised, every day, I liked meat. I enjoyed it. But obviously, I was a willing participant in not doing that anymore because I knew, well, why throw gasoline on the fire? Why? Yeah, okay, I didn't start the fire. I didn't make the stupid system. But I don't have to sit there and feed it either. I don't have to give it spears and swords and knives and weapons and bombs. I mean, you can say Muslims are crazy. Well, who's paying them? Money, to foment their craziness even some more. So come on. So this whole idea of what we're here to do, again, that's another thing. Just well, we're here to just massage our visceral, most crude passions. Massage them. Massage your ego and your vanity and your addictive nature. Just, oh yeah, stroke it. And or should you try to do something like maybe enjoy the idea of being productive, recognizing that, if I can actually accomplish something, I will gain a kind of ego gratification for having solved the problem, for having made a contribution to the creation of a cure, to have touched the beautiful thing, which is a solution, having in some way pushed it along its path, in some way made it easier for it to happen. And yes, that's a kind of massaging of your ego, but it's a different, clearly, it has a greater potential to do some good. But clearly the people who are just too lazy and too ignorant to take life seriously, they just want to drag everybody to their moronic, mycopic, small-minded, like a retard looking out the window, going, "Ooh, red, red, red! Ooh, yo, 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 yo! Ooh, rainbow, rainbow! Ooh, ooh!" They want everybody else to be an imbecile. It's just the failure and laziness loves company, or however you want to put it. Just nothing pisses the lazy off more, than somebody conscientious and working. Setting too high a standard for your participation on planet Earth. So they're just, in a sense, trying to rationalize everybody into their mediocrity to make themselves feel better, feel like less of a colossal failure. It being anything but, a fire watcher. So, yeah. So, but anyway, it does. Back to the seriously. It's easier for somebody to gravitate to a philosophy because it doesn't really, doesn't require much of a sacrifice from them. So I would argue that some elements of my philosophy are very, they just fit my personality. It just seems obvious. It seems blah, blah, blah. And then some elements of my philosophy, some elements of my character, I had to build totally obnoxious to my preferences. Like the vegetarian thing. It didn't suit me. I had to make the suit fit me, kind of thing. The suit of right. So the trick here with Logic Rolls the Dice guy is that he's like 15 years old. Kidding, but he's really young, and so everybody's got advice, and I sort of it's a dangerous individual for me, bad touch kind of thing. Just because, you don't, nothing's written yet. It's not in stone, with somebody his age. And so he talks bold, and as that's been demonstrated, that's kind of dangerous from somebody of his young perspective. And so it's maybe going to take a little more time before he can talk the talk as aggressively as he talks it, with any kind of durability, or with some sense that people are obligated to respect it, and not challenge it. So in some ways he's an easy target because he's a kid, and people know kids are kids and you can fuck them anyway. So anyway, but I see his, the defensiveness. I can appreciate that and understand it, that the world keeps trying to drag you to their level. They don't want you growing wings and flying. They're going to, as soon as you start to fly, they're going to try to pull you back down to earth, more out of their own insecurity and resentments than anything else. It's like the people who are against abortion, right? You can see it. They obviously don't give a frig about living people. You know, they just couldn't care less if the poor ate garbage and died. But they want to save those crack whore fetuses. Now, why is that? You know, because they're resenting the sex, right? Isn't that all it comes down to? They're just resenting people who are having sex for fun, and they want to try to make it less fun by hanging over them some demon of, you know, doom and gloom if you have sex and have an accident or pregnancy. They want to make it as bad as possible. They want to make it into a catastrophe. They want to set that part of your life on fire because they resent you having it. It's like you having a boat and they don't have a boat. And so, you know, because they have a law, they have a dogma that says no boat owning. You know, they're just trying to drag you into their lifestyle because they resent yours. It's like even all that homophobia and all the rest of that, that's all that's built out of. They're just resenting that, you know, other people have a hard, you know, other people are having sex. And that's all it is. They're just resenting, you know, el joyo of sexo. Anyway. So that's all this is, you know, this stupid thing is about, is that we're just part of clubs, tribes, kinds, and you know, and it's just you know, it's all about some sort of, you know, just like an evolutionary thing. It's all, you know, it's like some sort of genocidal you know, massacre is the only way to win in the end, is to annihilate this evil competition, this alternative perspective. So, but again, it comes out of a lot of just rationalizations, and you can see that. And so, yeah, let's just read one comment, just because it's just it's such a fairly, you know, Carla. It's just so typical, right? The world makes perfect sense. That's why it doesn't seem to make sense. You know, it's just that, yes, perfect imbecile rhetoric. You know, I'll just rationalize this with the, you know, let me come up with the most preposterous rationalization possible. Yeah, there you go. You know, if it would turn out to be a black comedy, now that would be nonsensical. Yes, it would obviously, you can't make it a black comedy because, you know, black comedies are portrayals of a circumstance. They're not a real circumstance, right? That's why it's a comedy. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't really produce a black comedy if you really had to endure the black part of the comedy. You know, if it wasn't just Punch and Judy, you know, fake puppets. You know, athletes think reality ought to conform to their wishes. That's not what the point is. The point is you could say that, and their wish is that you don't torture and maim things unnecessarily. Yeah, that when you don't have to stick a nail in something's eye, you don't do it. Yeah, we're going to force reality to conform to that standard, that you don't pointlessly stick nails in sentient eyeballs. God. And it's from this discrepancy, I don't know, between wishful thinking and reality, that the sense that the world, so it's just wishful thinking, you know. So if you set a standard, it's just wishful thinking. So if you have the expectation that men shouldn't rape women, that's just wishful thinking. There's no rational reason to expect that men could be able to control themselves, or that they should, or they could be civilized. There's absolutely no evidence in the world that men can ever resist the temptation to rape. That's never happened. Ever, ever, ever. So it's just wishful thinking. I mean, this is just such manipulative rhetoric. In reality, that the sense that the world would be observed derives from the sense that the world would be observed. It's the sense that it is absurd. And it's absurd because, you know, here we are right in the middle of it. It is on fire. So the evidence of it is all around you. And you just keep saying, tie another victim down, shove a nail in their eye, because I'm making cupcakes today. I'm worth it. I mean, you are torturing people for, you know, rainbows. To have the joy of rainbowing. You're torturing people. That's absurd. Logically. You're absurd. But you're not really absurd, because what you are is retarded, and you're acting perfectly retarded. You're perfect retards. You can't even get A. No, you can't do like A, B, C. You can't get fucking A right. Alright. Let's see. That's a solipsist position. Again, this accusation that it's I'm creating the universe by recognizing the universe exists and has on fire. I'm not saying I'm on fire. A solipsist would care about the fire only when they were on fire, which seems to be your position. You seem to be the selfish cunt who only sees the universe as meaning something when it's happening to you. You're the one raising your, probably no doubt, thumbing up the videos where people say things like, "What's in it for me?" Yeah. So how dare you call anybody else a solipsist? I mean, it's just hilarious. You think you are the one creating reality. Now, isn't that hilarious? Obviously, if I was creating reality, then I'd take responsibility for it. I'd explain it logically. I would logically explain why I did something. And if I didn't do something perfectly logical, and if there was something totally imbecilic or absurd, like torturing people for rainbows, then I would have to concede, well, you're right, that's a really bad part of my creation. I gotta fix that, huh? Because that's fucking absurd. But it's just so rude and obnoxious. You think you are the one creating reality. No, you're the one who is the fucking got the huge ego problem, who thinks you're fucking worth it. You think you're worth it. You think you're worth all the sentient organisms that have to die horribly every day for your lousy, stinking conception that you're fucking worth it. I mean, you despicable creature. I mean, how dare you accuse somebody else of creating reality when that's what you have done? And you've done it by painting smiling faces on the victims. You put them on the gurney, you hammered the nails in their eyes, they're screaming, and what do? You muffle them, you put tape over their mouth, and you paint a smiley face on it, you sadistic bitch. And then you make accusations about other people's character? Oh, you're just so fucking despicable. Anyway. But instead, reality is primary, and the primary source of sense. So again, logic isn't the primary source of sense. We're supposed to have the values of a bug. We're supposed to be ignorant, and that's the values of a bug. That's the, look, you think, do people really think that if lions could understand exactly what they were doing when they torment other animals, that they'd say, it's cool because I do it? You don't think if they had intelligence, they would have a real problem? That they'd have an identity crisis of some kind? That many lions, especially really intelligent lions, would have a real problem with that? That there'd be a correlation between intelligence and how comfortable the lion would be about going out there and chasing down little children, and biting them in the neck until dead? Yeah, come on. So anyway, so right here, so this is supposed to be our sense. We have an intelligence, and what these people want you to do, what they want logic rolls the dice, what they want this kid to do, is just be a selfish cunt, and to say, yes, for the glory of the bloodlust nature, for the glory of the ego, for the glory of the contrived purpose, for the glory of consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, addiction, for the glory of the addiction. That's all. They're just waving a big giant, they might as well just be waving heroin flags. That's all they're selling. They're just selling a pointless addiction. you won't win the game of life. If you're personally comfortable, you're probably going to be personally comfortable at minimum at the natural world's expense, and probably at the expense of many other human beings who aren't comfortable to provide your comfort. Cunts. Jeez. Whereas your thoughts about it and wishes about it, see, thoughts and wishes. So instead of just turning about your judgment, whereas your judgment about it are merely secondary. So again, my intelligent judgment is secondary to the crude biological mechanism's agenda. The DNA molecule is not only smarter than me, it's better than me, it's taller than me, it's prettier than me, it has a bigger dick than me. Yeah, it's just so much better than me. I have this giant brain, zillion neurons, whatever, but no, the molecule, I should be kissing its feet like a Jeebus doll. God, you're just so obviously stupid. Yeah, reality would be completely absurd if it would conform to your wishes. Oh yes, well it would be absurd if it, conformed to my wish that it would serve a purpose, which it can't do. Yes, that's right. Nothing's broken till you create broken. Nothing needs to be fixed until you create a sentient feeling and a negative one that needs comforting. Yes, that's true. You can't create a positive till you first dig the hole of negative. You can't create a positive until you first dig the hole of creating a negative. You can't create a positive until you first create the hole of the negative. You can't. You can't profit till you fucking first create loss. You just can't. That's right. And that's not my fault, retard. There's just nothing to do here, okay? And there's no need for fire extinguishers until some asshole starts a fire or feeds a fire. Asshole. All right. Because that would defeat the purpose of being wishful. Yeah, well, again, it's not wishful. It's an expectation, logically. A logical expectation. When somebody writes it as a theory, I mean, do I really have to write it on my forehead or something for you to get it? I have a logical expectation. It's not a wish, okay? It's a logical expectation. It's a sensible expectation. I expect to be able to exist without having to torture something to do it. And if I have to torture something to do it, I'm smart enough, logically, to know that's nonsensical. Okay, it's merely your perception and understanding of reality. Well, exactly. Logical perception. It's merely your logical perception and logical understanding of reality rather than your silly, made-up, fabulistic, kindergarten, immature, wishful thinking, delusional fantasy that DNA molecules know what they're doing. That's implicit, explicit in your argument, is that you think a DNA molecule knows what it's doing. It's qualified to create. It has a degree in sensible creation science. From what? A degree from what? Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah. Of reality that is flawed. Okay, it's merely your perception and understanding of reality that is flawed. Well, again, you didn't demonstrate a single flaw. You don't demonstrate it. You're saying it's flawed logic to think my brain can understand value equations better than a DNA molecule. Yeah, right. So, just amazing. All right, Anacontivad more, just ramble. He just says things, you know what I mean? I think if I had been subjected to too much of that kind of thing, so that kind of thing is, well, he should have said like 5:45 here. Join the fun kind of arguments. Come on. People always trying to get you to get drunk. People always trying to get you stoned. Trying to always get you, go ahead, fuck the hooker. I had somebody that tried to get me to almost rape a girl once when I was a kid. I mean, it was really weird. I mean, the girl was kind of playing along, but I just mean it was really fucked up. Kind of do it. No. I mean, this is all fine, but there's a line, you assholes. Even as a kid, I could figure out there was a line, right? Yeah, these assholes can't figure that out. That too much of that kind of thing. I might have become anti-natalist. Well, if you could become anti-natalist that easily, again, and you just can't even imagine what you're subjecting your child to, and that you can't even, you couldn't think about that ahead of time and say, you know what, yeah, if my kid does do this, and he does spend his life doing that, it's going to be one hell of a burdensome existence. He's going to spend his life putting out a fire, okay, that I didn't start, okay, but, I'm claiming it can't be put out. And my kid's going to be a slave to it. A slave to it. So, gee, thanks, Dad. Fuck you. And I am neither joking. Well, yes, you're always joking. It's always a big fucking joke. Because you don't think anybody... You're the ultimate solipsist, and you think I don't exist. And that my interests don't exist. And that whatever happens, you're there to just spectate. Yes, you're a fire watcher. Nor implying that your reasons are that simple. Well, you sort of are implying it. You're saying that people become anti-natalist because they're driven to it, because people just keep nagging them to be fun, and they don't want to be fun. Yeah, whatever. Again, this is about, look, ultimately it's not even about intelligence, as I've said before, it's just about bullshit. If you take away religion, if you take away these lies, these justifying, rationalizing lies about existence, and just honestly talked about its structure, its formation, I'm going to make I was going to make like a joke video, about, I was thinking I should analyze the animals of the world. I mean, I should have a conversation with different animals in videos, because I was just thinking of having a conversation with one of those owls on the Galapagos Island who's given up flying, right? This great experience of flying, given that up so it can eat other birds, right? It's become a predator on birds, and it hunts them down like a cat. And, there's just such... Now, this, to Carla, is not absurd. But, I mean, I think it would be an absurd conversation. Oh, so you're a bird that eats birds. Oh, so you're a human that owns humans, that enslaves other humans, that takes advantage of their... Oh, so you're a human who takes advantage of other people's desperation to exploit it for your personal welfare. That's the world that logic rolls the dice is kind of saying is intrinsically and fundamentally cannibalistic. It's disgusting. You people are insane. That you can't see this simple logic. That you can't win, okay, by grinding up the grinding up things equal to yourself to fill your gas tank. It's not logical. You can't cause harm in defense of your comfort. It's not logical. But anyway, yeah, this does all become, we have to sort of, your psychology can rule your philosophy, or your philosophy can attempt to rule your psychology. But in truth, they're going to have to work together. Either way, there's got to be some kind of blending to exist. You can't be completely logical and live a viscerally sufferable life. Life will be too insufferable if you never turn it off. If you never get yourself into human gear and run the course a little bit. race the track. So you do have to play the game in the sense that your psychology has to be fed. But the simple truth is, you can be horny for almost anything. Just like you can be hungry for vegan foods. I mean, salivatingly hungry for non-meat food items. You can be viscerally hungry, ego hungry, to be a great janitor, or using today's metaphor, a great firefighter. You can be like sex. You can get off on it. So you can live for it comfortably, satisfactorily, even happily. So this idea that it's nothing but pain is just part of the lie. Just as the people who want to claim you can't become a vegetarian are going to claim that somehow I'm going through my life deprived. They'll throw a wob of cheese in their mouth, go nom 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 nom. Like it's the greatest. Like I can't find something to put in my mouth. Okay, I can't find something to eat that beats the fuck out of your stupid moldy cheese. They didn't require some cow to be genetically altered and have her children slaughtered to produce. So anyway, good. It's like I said, it's always an interesting conversation, just getting into the whole cult thing and blah blah. I guess I should touch upon that a little, just because he did use the word trust a couple of times, which I just don't like. I don't, I don't mean that you want to be able. I mean, I want to be able to trust that somebody isn't going to Jekyll and Hyde on me. I want to be able to feel secure that I'm not going to get. I've had enough knives in my back, to say it's. I got too much scar tissue back there for any more of that shit. You can take a few, but after a while, it starts to break the machine down, having holes poked in it. So I suppose trust does mean something. But I mean, this is philosophy, really. I'm not trying to get somebody to trust. Oh, believe me, life really does suck. I mean, I really don't want you to believe it because Gary says so. Or, I trust that Gary has researched it all, so I will conclude that life does suck. No, I mean, I want you to see it. I want you to smell it. I want you to, I suppose there's some point in saying, well, no, I don't really want you to go to a hospital and see if you can traumatize yourself, listening to the different voices and saying, what does that represent and who is them, what's happening right now. I mean, I don't want you to hurt yourself. So, I mean, if you can trust me on some things, like don't go to nursing homes unless you really have to. There's some things you don't need to experience, I suppose. So you can take my word for it on those things. But I just mean, take my word for it that there's always a pain worse than the worst pain you've had, probably. You probably haven't had the worst one yet. You probably haven't had the lowest psychological low that's possible for you to have either. Don't fool yourself into thinking it's all going to be all right because the waves so far have only gotten this big and I can handle that. Don't be fooled. Trust me. All right? Because through life experience I've learned that what I thought I thought it was dark, and then it got darker, and then it got darker, and you say, wow, it can really get dark. I mean double dark, triple dark, darker than you think it can get. It can get there. So anyway. But yeah, I don't want somebody to, I mean, of course I want somebody to not think I'm a liar, or think I'm insincere, or think I'm just somebody, talking a line, for their own purposes. I mean, obviously I don't fit into a category where you could say, oh yeah, he's doing that to make money, or he's doing that to, you can't find a lot of those kind of motives. But clearly you could distrust me as being a source that was illegitimate in some sense. But I guess in a sense I've already described my own creation. I mean, I haven't not revealed something about how I've acquired my personality and who I am. I mean, so yeah, in a sense, you could trust it in a sense that I wouldn't have made that crap up. It's just kind of a crappy story. If it was a great story, then you say, oh yeah, you made that up. But it's not. I don't think. Well, anyway, I don't care. I guess still, I'm just gonna say it's. I mean, I just want people to trust I'm not lying. I'm not a fake. But other than that, they don't really need to trust me for anything, right? Because I'm sort of just spelling out why 2 + 2 = 4. I'm not dogmatically saying believe it. I'm saying just look at the way the system works. You don't see the addiction in yourself. You don't see yourself become addicted and attached. You don't see the mechanics of your psychology create transitions where you go from incredibly hungry to where food is completely repulsive, where incredibly horny, and incredibly disinterested. And I mean, this doesn't happen to you. You don't see this vague, visceral, crude, biological thing kind of controlling the most fundamental carrot and whip that's moving you through your life. And you don't understand how it would be better if your brain does some of that carrot whipping stuff in some sort of way that gets you to put fires out, rather than like the anticontavods of the world, starting them, maintaining them, blowing on them, pushing them in a direction. Yeah, I think you can understand that. So anyway, but we just can't. Well, you have to do this thing in a personal way. We're talking about the most personal parts of our lives. There's personal accusations being made by people about our character. I mean, it can't help but get personal. So you have to deal with some of that on an individual level with people about who we are and what we should be able to expect from each other. And so anyway, I mean, like I said, logic rolls the dice. I said it from the beginning. I did say these words. He's young, all right, smart, but he's young, and so tread carefully. And I don't want much except not to have a knife in my back. You don't have to stay glued to a philosophical perspective to satisfy. Well, obviously to satisfy me in some sense you do, right? You can't go, I'm a vegetarian today, and then tomorrow I'm not a vegetarian, and the next day I don't know, you're eating cardboard or something. I don't know, you can't just vacillate through life, because you're not going to get respect as a vacillator. And if you're going to change from, well, I don't know, I guess there's no way you can go from what I think is a logically sensible position to a nonsensical, insanely illogical position without me losing respect for you. That's just a fact. I mean, that's just, no, I can't help doing that. I just can't help not having respect for illogical rationalizations and, voodoo. I mean, it's like, some guy talking quantum physics who believes in God. I can't put that together. That'll never make any sense, so fuck you. You're an idiot. I mean, you just can't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you can somehow mash those two things, quantum physics and God. And no, those two things don't fit together at all. So anyway, so I think that's enough. Yeah, so till next time. And I guess I don't know. What was the title of the videos I've been making lately? We Know Enough? I don't know, I guess it sort of fits in that category. What we need to know enough about is the difference between psychology and philosophy. To just understand that our psychology is is trying to get our philosophy to rationalize our psychology. There is an actual ego mechanism that wants you to do that. That wants you have a compulsion to justify who you are, not who you should be. Who you should be means change, work, no. You have an incentive to find that not to be what you want to do. You want to find the thing you want to do, you're hungry for. You want to find the food you're hungry for. You want rationalizations and reasons to eat the food you're hungry for, not the one that's good for you. Right? I mean, that's something we learn is, that's just so obvious. That's like, you can understand that even as a kid. Even when you're a kid rejecting the facts of life, you can understand that fact of life. That regardless of the fact that I want to eat this, I do understand that that is what I should want to eat. Because that's good and this is bad. Fire, bad. Putting out fire, good. Disease, bad. Cure, good. Stupid, bad. Smart, good. And so whenever stupid is running inside of your psychology, the solution is smart. To put it out. Put out the stupid with a little bit of smart. Anyway. Okay, now that's enough. So I don't know what the title will be. Maybe I'll just do the regarding.